Have you ever felt perfectly still while the world rushes past? Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet hum beneath your gaze. You watch the ship move toward the horizon, but you are not really at the helm. On paper, life is fine. In practice, something in you is drifting. This is not failure. It is a human crossroads. The map you were handed no longer matches your heart. A whisper rises that does not shout, but never leaves. Is this the story I am meant to live? If you have sat in that stillness, wondering whether to move or stay anchored, you are not alone. Today, we will honor that moment, name it with compassion, understand it without judgment, and begin turning the wheel slowly and clearly back toward open water. Let us give this feeling a name: professional inertia. It is not burnout. Burnout empties you outright. It is not a bad week that fades with rest. Inertia is subtler. It is the gap between motion and progress. You wake up on time. You commute. You do the tasks. You send the reports. You cash the paycheck. From the shore, it looks like movement. Inside, the sails hang slack. The current moves you, but you are not charting the course. Not because you are lazy, not because you lack courage, because changing course feels monumental, like turning a large vessel in still water without wind. I once spoke with someone. Let us call her Mia. Mia had the job many people would celebrate. Stable salary, kind coworkers, a title that impressed. But she described a small ritual she hated to admit. Every morning, before stepping out of her car, she would sit for 10 quiet minutes and hope that time would carry her to 5 p.m. Nothing was wrong. Nothing was right. That is inertia. Not misery, but not joy. Why does this matter? Your work is more than income. It is where your attention goes, where your effort gathers, where your gifts take shape. When work drifts too far from who you are, it becomes a slow leak in the hull. You can keep scooping water and swear the ship is fine, but you feel the drag. This is not about chasing a mythical perfect job. It is about alignment, where energy spent becomes energy returned, where the wind you catch lifts the vessel rather than fighting the tide with a bucket. How does inertia feel? Day to day. It is Sunday dread creeping into Saturday afternoon. It is excelling at a role that no longer fits, like a uniform one size too small. It is the tiredness that comes not from doing hard things, but from doing the same things without meaning. It is scrolling job listings like watching distant ships cross the horizon, imagining yourself aboard, then closing the tab and promising you will check again tomorrow. It is telling yourself you are lucky, and you are, yet feeling the quiet ache of unlived potential and wondering why gratitude alone does not still the water inside. Staying in inertia has a cost. 3, in fact. First, the atrophy of potential. Potential is a sail. Leave it furrowed too long and the canvas stiffens. You remember when learning felt like air. You remember when growth felt like sunlight. But routine left unchecked teaches a different lesson. That good enough is the ceiling and that excellence is optional. Disengagement creeps in, and with it, a more dangerous erosion, the belief that you can succeed at something new. The tragedy is not only slower progress, it is the forgetting. The quiet revision of your own story, where you stop seeing yourself as a person built for open water. Second, the opportunity cost of time. Time is the only cargo you cannot restock. A year goes by, then 2. You meant to message that person you admire. You meant to try that online course. You meant to sketch the outline of that project. Instead, you got through the week. No one scolds you. No one even notices. But opportunities sail on their own schedules. You realize one afternoon that the harbor you are in is strangely empty, and the tide has long since carried those chances away. Third, the cycle of insecurity. A draining job can quietly shrink your options. Skills wither. Ambition dulls. Salaries stagnate. The longer you stay moored, the heavier the anchor feels, and the more dangerous the open sea appears. Fear says stay where it is safe, but staying makes leaving harder, which confirms the fear, which makes you stay again. That loop tightens until the ship creaks at the dock and the horizon looks like a rumor. Now the gentler truth. Inertia is a state, not a sentence. Wind can return. A hand can find the wheel. No reckless leaps are required. We honor the realities you carry. Bills, caregiving, fatigue, recovery. We are not here to glorify risk. We are here to rebuild motion. 3 movements help. Movement 1. Reconnaissance from resume to reflection. Before we rewrite your resume, we need to remember your real work. For 1 week, carry a small page in your phone or a notebook and track 3 simple things. Drains. Note the tasks that deplete you beyond their worth. Not the hard ones, the hollow ones. Energizes. Log moments, even brief, when you felt focused, useful, alive. These are clues, not accidents. Sparks. Record topics, tools, or problems that catch your curiosity. Curiosity is your compass. It always points somewhere. At week's end, read your notes slowly. You are not looking for a job title yet. You are looking for a pattern. What drains repeat? What energizes cluster? Where do the sparks align? This is your map of true wins. From here, your resume can become a story about outcomes you care about, rather than a list of tasks you survived. From here, conversations shift. You stop asking, who will take me? And you start asking, where do my wins belong? Movement 2. Micro-action, breaking inertia with proof. Motivation often follows movement, not the other way around. Set a 5-minute timer. 5 minutes is small enough to start and big enough to matter. In those 5 minutes, do one thing that tilts the ship. Search for 3 people with roles you admire and follow their paths. Watch the first lesson of a beginner course and write 1 sentence about what you learned. Write a paragraph that describes your ideal workday without editing into something that sounds reasonable. 5 minutes becomes 6. 6 becomes 10. Alex, who worked retail, did exactly this with coding tutorials. He was not chasing a perfect plan. He was building proof that he could still move. Months later, he took a tiny freelance project. It did not change his life in a day, but it changed his direction. Direction is destiny in slow motion. Movement 3, future-proofing, building your bridge. Not a leap, a bridge. 2 planks begin the span. Knowledge and resources. Knowledge. Add a skill that strengthens your mass. It can be free. It can be basic. It only has to be real. Document your progress. Finish small modules. Ship small artifacts. Accumulate visible proof. Resources. Start a freedom fund, however modest. A few dollars a week is not a fortune, but it is a vote. A vote for options. A vote for time. A vote for the version of you who might need a cushion to cross water later. Bridges are quiet to build and obvious once you step on them. Along the way, keep speaking kindly to yourself. You have done what you needed to survive, and that counts. You are not behind. You are beginning again, and beginnings often look like small circles on a map before they look like straight lines across an ocean. Now, let us add 2 general practices that give these movements staying power. First practice, weekly course correction. Once a week, ask 3 questions. What gave me energy? What drained it? What small adjustment will I make next week to get more wind and less water? Write the answers, one paragraph each. Tiny corrections prevent large regrets. Second practice, conversations that open doors. Reach out to one person a week who lives near your wins. Not to ask for a job, to ask for direction. What surprised you in your path? What would you learn sooner if you were me? What small step would you take in my position this month? People remember genuine curiosity. Often, a single sentence from someone further along clarifies a season more than hours of solitary worry. As you work, notice what changes inside you. At first, not much. The ship still looks anchored. But you feel the difference between choosing. You feel the wheel in your hands again, even if the shoreline has not moved yet. You measure success not only by outcomes, but by alignment, by how often your days begin to sound like your name. There will be weeks when progress is invisible. There will be days when the old harbor calls your name, and the new map feels like a rumor. On those days, return to proof. Open your notebook. Read your energy map. Look at the tiny projects you finished, the emails you sent, the skills you logged, the dollars you set aside. Proof is when you can hold. If doubt says it is too late, remember that course is set by angle, not by age. 2 degrees today becomes a coastline you could not see from the dock. The ship you steer is patient. It responds to the smallest honest turn. So where does this leave us? With a question, still. Not. What leap will you make tomorrow? Leaps are dramatic. Leaps make headlines. Ships rarely leap. They turn. They trim. They take wind. They go. The better question is simpler and braver. What small turn of the wheel will you make today? Will you map your drains, your energizes, your sparks? Will you set a 5-minute timer and give yourself proof? Will you lay one plank of knowledge and one plank of resources and call it your bridge? You do not have to love the whole ocean to leave the dock. You only have to want the next horizon more than the comfort of the pier. You only have to choose 1 true inch over 10 borrowed miles. Then choose it again tomorrow. We all face still waters. Still water is not the end of a story. It is the moment before wind. When it comes, you will be ready. Map clarified. Mass strengthened. Hand steady on the wheel. The smallest change in course, barely noticeable at first, can carry you farther than certainty ever could. If this is your season, take your moment. Stand on your deck. Look toward the line where sky meets sea. Trust the quiet that brought you here. Turn the wheel. A new horizon waits, not Sunday. In the next small, honest step you take today.